This week on The Splash, West Bloomfield residents were treated to a dinner and auction supporting Relay for Life. Then check out the Optimist Club's holiday party over at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And later, watch as a local West Bloomfield synagogue helps those in need this winter. The Splash is a production of Civic Center TV. We're a news magazine that covers everything from local news to feature stories, all so that we can bring you the latest from the greater West Bloomfield area. And now, let's dive into The Splash. Welcome to The Splash. I am your host, Jonathan Jackson, and as always, it's good to have you with us. Our first story this week comes to us from West Bloomfield High School, where the fundraising chapter Relay for Life held a rather popular event that benefited cancer survivors through the selling of pizza. Here's The Splash's Daisha Banks with the details.
Here at West Bloomfield High School, the American Cancer Society has teamed up with the residents of the greater West Bloomfield area to raise money for cancer research. And what better way to get people involved than with an American favorite, pizza.
The event is called Pizza Palooza, and it's an event where we're celebrating eating pizza for the benefit of the American Cancer Society.
Events like these are set up by an organization within the American Cancer Society that is dedicated to raising money for cancer research around the globe, called Relay for Life.
Well, it's amazing that Relay for Life is an organization that's throughout the world. And so there are thousands of Relays for Life raising millions of dollars. It's the largest fundraiser in the world. And so all over the country, all different kinds of fundraisers. Today, Pizza Palooza. Tomorrow, other types of events.
If there's one lesson the American Cancer Society would like to leave you with, it's the importance of getting involved in how your participation can make a difference.
We hope this is the spark that will ignite additional participation among all these community people that are now thinking we're just eating pizza, but there's a bigger purpose here. We're also informing people about the American Cancer Society and the importance of cancer research, and pizza is just the mechanism that we're using tonight to make all that happen.
Events like these are held annually in West Bloomfield, and there's no better time to get involved than the present. For more information, visit relayforlife.org and type in West Bloomfield. For The Splash, I'm Daisha Banks.
Thanks, Daisha. We're always glad to support our friends over at West Bloomfield's Relay for Life. And to all of you watching at home, you can check out this segment anytime on our website over at civiccentertv.com/pizzapalooza. And when it comes to the holidays, no one is more excited than our children. And each year they eagerly look forward to presents and fun. But for some kids this Christmas, that won't be a possibility, which is why the Optimist Club holds an event every year benefiting those children who are less fortunate. And this year's holiday party was one of the biggest. It's that special time of year when we gather for holiday cheer, and this annual event appealed to all the kids in greater West Bloomfield.
The holiday party is a great time for everyone to volunteer, get together and volunteer to give back. We invite the children from the community, 250, 300 kids. We feed them, give them gifts, have fun with them. It's like a carnival atmosphere.
The event took place over at Orchard Lake St. Mary and was run by Optimist Club Chair Sherry.
I joined the Optimist Club about a year and a half ago, and I'm so honored to be a part of this club. It's all about kids. And here today we have so many kids and families that we can actually serve our community with and provide fun.
With the food and crafts all ready to go, the Optimist Club staff put on quite a show.
Well, as the president, it's really no different because I'm, as you see, working the Game 10Z. Last year I did the Nature Center. Every year it's different, but it's always fun no matter what job you wind up doing.
Everyone came out to this year's event, even Chief Joe George with the police department.
It inspires me, and to me it's very important, especially today, for these young children to see police in maybe a different venue and to find out that we're real people like everyone else, and we do care. We serve mankind, and we have a special place in the heart for the kids.
With happy smiles on all the kids' faces, everyone inside was filled with warm graces.
My fondest childhood memory of Christmas has to be getting up in the morning and running down the stairs just to find all the presents under the Christmas tree. And that happened for about 4 or 5 years before I found out that it wasn't a saint.
I loved Christmas. My favorite, and I think it was for most of us. Couldn't wait for Christmas Day to come. Santa, presents, I mean, what's there not to like?
I don't know how my parents did. I have 7 siblings, and I was number 4 of the lot. And I didn't catch on till I was probably about 10 or 11 years old. How they kept the presents so unexpectedly, I'll never know how. But yeah, I was very excited as a kid. Looked forward to my birthday and to Christmas Day.
Christmas Eve in our family was always about food and fun and family. But of course, what kid doesn't love Christmas morning? I mean, you get up Christmas morning and it's Santa, you know. So I love it when I come here and I see the joy in these kids' faces. They know that they're going to be able to get a chance to see Santa Claus and get their pictures taken. And just to see them smile and the way Santa just lights up a kid's face is just, you can't replace that. You can't replace that with anything.
Such a wonderful event and an even greater tradition. So we hope to see you all next year at this holiday exhibition. It was really such a fun event and a great cause within our community. So we want to say thanks again to the Optimist Club for inviting us. And if you missed out on this year's party, you can always check out what happened at civiccentertv.com/holidayparty2016. Coming up, though, you won't want to miss out on hearing this great new cause stirring within West Bloomfield's community. And later, we've got an all-new episode of SIDEWALK Talk. Stay tuned.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Civic Center TV celebrates our region's natural beauty, proud history, tremendous accomplishments, and more with Another Angle, a series featuring a unique bird's-eye view of our area's landscape. Watch Another Angle on Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Civic Center TV has gone social. Now it's easier than ever to watch, save, like, and share our videos online. See what's happening in your neighborhood, on the streets, and on the web at civiccentertv.com. Be a part of the conversation and get involved. We would love to hear from you. For links to our social media pages, visit us at our website or find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
The best way to know when shows debut on Civic Center TV is to become a member. It's absolutely free. We'll send you a regular newsletter with all the latest updates. Just go to civiccentertv.com and click the Members tab. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson. During the colder months, it's nice to step inside and enjoy a warm fire or fellow company. But not everyone has that luxury this time of year, which is why Temple Shir Shalom in West Bloomfield is hoping to provide both shelter and comfort to those without it. Located at the intersection of Walnut and Orchard Lake Road, Temple Shir Shalom has been a staple within the West Bloomfield community for almost 30 years now.
Temple Shir Shalom is a Reformed Jewish congregation. We have about 1,000 families that comprise our membership. So we hold the Reformed tenets very important to us as far as the Reformed Jewish movement. And one of those things that's important is called Tikkun Olam, which is repairing our world. And it's a way in which we look to give back to our community in different ways that we can help people that are less fortunate than us.
And this concept of Tikkun Olam has inspired those within the temple to take up a new form of service towards their community.
We're going to be housing 30 people, guests from South Oakland Shelter at the Corners of Campus for Caring Communities, which is a separate nonprofit entity but directly related to Temple Shir Shalom. And the idea was born when one of our members, who happens to be our social action terrorist, Sally Jo Levine, brought this to our attention.
Together, Andre and Sally Jo have built this effort from the ground up at a local campus called The Corners, which houses a number of nonprofit organizations within the community. But for the next week, it will be housing 30 homeless individuals from the South Oakland County Shelter.
It's an enormous undertaking. We have over 160 people helping in some way this week. I believe in the program. It's a phenomenal program that helps people get on their feet. Most of the clients do have jobs, do go to work or to school, and so what they don't have is a home. They have no place to go at night.
Besides providing a room and bed to sleep in, the staff will also be preparing meals and transportation for their guests. Because as Sally Jo explains, that's how they're to be treated, as guests.
What really moves me is that any one of us can be in that position where, through circumstance, something's happened and your life isn't on track. And this program gives you an opportunity to go to work, to save money and to eventually get a home or an apartment or something like that. So for me, it's not what I'm giving to them. It's really what they're giving to me. It's the chance to have people come into our home, and we consider this our home, and treat them as our guests, because they are our guests. We wouldn't be doing it if they didn't come. And we love the idea that people will come into our home and partake of what we have to give.
And what's even more inspiring is the fact that the temple is already looking forward to providing this service again next year.
We've committed to this, and I think that this being the first time we're doing it in this building, this being the first time that we're coordinating it in this way, we're going to learn from what we do well. We're going to learn from our mistakes. We're always looking to improve at Temple Shir Shalom in everything that we do.
For The Splash, I'm Jonathan Jackson. And if you'd like to see more from that segment or just want to share it with friends, you can visit civiccentertv.com/Temple Shir Shalom. But now let's turn to another of our popular Splash segments, Sidewalk Talk, where reporter George Moore discusses topics at random with residents here in Greater West Bloomfield.
Hi, George Moore for Civic Center TV and The Splash. We're out on the streets of West Bloomfield, the Greater West Bloomfield area, again, asking the questions nobody else will ask, and you give us the answers. Join us.
We're now boarding rows 30 to 40.
What was the worst travel experience that you've ever had on an airplane? Give us some details.
After our first flight, we had to go through customs and then leave the airport, and then come back in and go through security again, and then try and get on our plane on time, which our first flight was late, so we didn't think we were going to get home that day, but we made it.
They switched our flight. We had an early flight, and they changed it to a later flight, and the long layover, and, so it was just not, the trip was great, but both flights coming and going were disasters.
Worst travel experience would be on Spirit Airlines because, not a knock on Spirit, but they charge you for everything. They charge you for water. You can't get water on the plane. Water, snacks, every single thing. I'm surprised they don't charge you for air.
The worst travel experience I've ever had by plane, really just has to do with a delay. We were delayed for hours and hours and hours, which caused us to miss our next flight. And I was exhausted. We were actually coming from the Far East, and we ended up having like a 12-hour layover.
They could not get the air conditioning to turn on in the plane, and we had just left Vegas. And it was so hot in the plane. We were all very warm. That was the worst.
They ended up putting us in the very last row of the plane. The seat would not recline, and it was right next to the bathroom, and it was a horrible odor, and I was in the middle seat. It was awful. It was like a 4.5-hour trip. That was pretty bad.
Can you believe some of the questions we ask? Neither can I, but you answered them as always. So we got some good stuff. So until you see us next time, for Civic Center TV and The Splash, I'm George Moore. Sidewalk Talk.
Those were truly some of the worst experiences I've ever heard, which makes me glad I don't fly very often. But as always, we're glad to hear from you guys within the community, and to watch more of our fun conversations within Greater West Bloomfield, you can visit civiccentertv.com/sidewalk talk. And now, as we move on to our Civic Center event update, remember you can stay up to date on all the following current events by visiting civiccentertv.com/events. So with that being said, let's get started. Ringing the holidays with a special performance by the Classical Bells Choir at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital's main atrium on December 14th from 12:30 to 1:30. This is a free performance, by the way, and it is open to the public, so no registration is required. Why not gift yourself with the sound of good music? All you have to do is attend West Bloomfield High School's team-up with Abbott and Orchard Lake Middle School's orchestra to present the All-City Orchestra Concert. The event takes place at West Bloomfield High School on December 14th, starting at 7 p.m., and donations will be accepted to support the West Bloomfield School's orchestra programs. So come on out. On December 14th at 7:30 p.m., the Bourbon will be hosting a wonderful evening of upbeat and jazzy tunes, along with American Standards, featuring Tony Award nominee Tom Wopat and Linda Pearl. Tickets start at just $43, and for more information, you can call the Berman at 248-661-1900. You know, air has powers beyond being the stuff that we just breathe. Using the power of air, we can watch things fly, float, and even defy logic. That's why the Nutty Scientists are presenting an interactive presentation at the Family Aquatic Center for ages 5 through 10 on December 15th at 6 p.m. The cost is $25 for residents or $30 for non-residents, and it features unique and funny science lessons for the kids. Time is running out, and donations are needed for the Sylvan Lake Police Department Shop with a Hero. This is a program that brings Christmas to children who aren't able to receive gifts during the holiday. And although donations are welcome year-round, December 19th is the cutoff date, and that determines how much the program has in all. Remember, donations can be made at Sylvan Lake City Hall, and you can call them at 248-682-1440 for specific information on other ways in which you can participate. Also, another quick reminder, the Jacket Club's Winter Hat and Mitten Drive ends on December 24th. Remember, you can drop off new hats and mittens by putting them on the tree or in the box at Gino's Restaurant, and the event runs all day, so feel free to stop by anytime. Handle with Care is a romantic comedy between two unlikely people that will put a smile on your face and warmth within your heart. The play is currently going on at the JET Theater inside the JCC, now through December 24th. You can check out the JET website for more information or showtimes, or you can even call 248-788-2900. Chanukah Wonderland is back for 4 official days of fun and games at the Orchard Mall, and those dates are December 21st, 22nd, 25th, and the 26th. You can visit their website at ChanukahWonderlandMI.com for exact times, and the cost is only $5 per person. And on the last day, December 26th, there will be the Grand Menorah Lighting Celebration featuring the Chicago Boys Acrobats. So come on out if you can. Did you know? The West Bloomfield Parks and Rec Winter Guide is available now. And if you haven't received yours in the mailbox yet, you can stop on by the Recreation Activity Center or view it online. You can take a look at all of the activities, events, and programs, some of which I've already mentioned, taking place this season. And if you don't want to register online, you can always call them at 248-451-1900. Now through the end of December, your favorite book characters are visiting the West Bloomfield Library for interactive story time featuring books, crafts, and games. At the end of each program, the character will arrive for a special meet and greet, and no registration is required. You can visit the West Bloomfield Library website to find out which character is going to pop up and when, or you can call 248-682-2120. Artists are invited to submit their work at the 2017 Michigan Regional Glass Exhibition. This exhibition is also open to residents from the Toledo or Windsor area, and mixed media is welcome. But the majority of the artwork has to be glass and original in concept by the artist. The submission form is due by January 12, 2017. You can go to the Janice Sherratt Gallery for more details. And that's all for now, but if you're looking to find even more events going on in your neighborhood, then be sure to follow us at civiccentertv.com/events and look up our events calendar. Or you can watch us here for more information on everything going on in the greater West Bloomfield area. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but afterwards I'll be talking with Rhonda Greene, a local children's author and speaker within West Bloomfield.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
I'm Kelly Waterfall for Civic Center TV. All around West Bloomfield, people are saying there's great, if not totally compelling programming on Civic Center TV. What's the best way to know when our newest shows debut? Become a member. It's absolutely free. We'll send you a regular newsletter with all the latest updates. Just go to civiccentertv.com and click the Members tab. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Be sure to catch live coverage of Laker sports, up-to-date information on local events, and of course, non-stop music on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM.
For years, Civic Center TV has been bringing you live coverage of local municipal meetings. The meetings are now available on demand at civiccentertv.com/meetings or watch the meetings again the following day on Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Hello and welcome to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson, and joining me at the desk this week is Rhonda Greene, a local children's author here in West Bloomfield and also a public speaker. Rhonda, I want to thank you again for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
So, So, Rhonda, you have been here in the West Bloomfield community for quite a while now. How long is that?
My husband and I, we've lived here for 33 years.
Wow.
Long time. So we have 4 kids. They're grown now, but they went to West Bloomfield schools.
And then from there, now they're on to their own.
Yes,
You know,
yeah, they don't live in West Bloomfield.
But you've stayed and you've made a good career for yourself writing, as I said earlier, children's books. And you've wrote 24 nationally published, you mentioned.
Yes.
But how was it writing that first book, getting that first one published? What was that feeling like?
It was very difficult. It's harder than people think to get published. Children's books are usually short, at least picture books that I write, but it's very, very difficult to get published. So I got 220 rejections before I sold my first story. It got rejected 6 times before I sold it, and Simon & Schuster bought it. And I actually sold 2 manuscripts within like a few weeks of each other, and they came out the same time in '97.
Wow. Well, perseverance is a big part of this, having to keep going on. And you said, like you said, you've published your first book, which I believe is, we have it right here in this pile.
Right.
Barnyard Song, was that one?
This was the first story I sold.
Okay.
Right. And then this one sold just a few weeks later, so they came out the same time. So that was kind of unusual for a first-time author, for 2 books to come out the same time.
But also better, so more books, more,
This was with Houghton Mifflin, and they're both still in print. So that's kind of unusual, too, because, so that'll be 20 years, next year. Wow. And a lot of picture books don't stay in print for like over 5 years. So I have had some go out of print, but so I'm real happy that these are, and this one is also in Chinese and Korean, this one is.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, even better. So your books obviously have an educational aspect to them because, there's some, this one is about shapes.
Yeah,
and,
this one I know teachers use quite a bit. This one actually, Michigan has a program for young kids called Michigan Reads. And my book won the first time in 2004, was the first time they ever had that program.
That's wonderful.
And Jennifer Granholm was the governor then, and she read my book aloud for the Library of the Blind. And I traveled across the state doing a lot of presentations that year.
Okay, yeah. You mentioned, you've had a lot of speaking conferences and talking with other, not only just kids, but other authors, encouraging them, to keep on, keep at it. Like you said, 220 manuscripts rejected is, it's got to be a little disheartening, but that perseverance that you kept up,
Right.
How important is that for you, for all these, if any tip you could give the authors today? What else would it be?
I always think the 3 Ps, passion, persistence, and patience to get published.
Like yeah, I like that.
And I still get lots of rejections. I do. So I would
Even
just
with 24
tell them,
nationally published books.
Exactly.
Anybody can still
I
get
do. Every story is a new story that has to be competitive with all the other stories out there. And I would just say keep at it. And the main thing that I think is really important is study the kind of books that you want to write.
Yeah, learn from others.
I have like a library at my house of especially picture books, because that's what I like to write the most. And I study them. I read them like a writer and think, why did this story get published? And I try to make my writing that good.
Yeah, and do you probably space out a good amount of time that where you just focus on studying others and writing, because a big part of writing is also studying, like you said, and reading other books. How is it hard to focus sometimes to really get yourself in that mindset when you're doing this?
Not so much for me, because I love it. It's my passion. Children's books. I got a degree to be a school librarian, but I never became that when I started a family. So I never thought I would end up as an author, but I love what I do. I love it.
That's wonderful, Rhonda, wonderful. And you said you also have some grandkids now that you read some of your books too. Have they read any of your newest books? I know you have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of your newest ones.
This was my newest one, yes.
Push, Dig, and Scoop.
Push, Dig, Scoop, a construction counting rhyme. It took 4.5 years. This was my only book that sold at auction, which was very exciting. 4 publishers were bidding on it. And I have an agent at Curtis Brown, and she got the bidding going. So that was very exciting. And so I had to wait for 4.5 years for it finally to come out. And Daniel, I don't have anything to do with the illustrations of my books.
Oh, okay.
And the editors choose the illustrators. But Daniel Kirk was on my wish list. He's done some really well-known books, Chugga Chugga Choo Choo. And so I was very excited that he did the illustrations.
Well, big thank you to Daniel Kirk for doing that for Rhonda. We appreciate it. And that's a very popular one, I know. And also this one is another new one. You said no pirates allowed,
Yes.
which is a little bit different, I think, than your others. But what is this one about?
This one is really about reading, the treasures of reading.
Okay.
Pirate Pete comes in looking for gold, and he smells, and he's loud, and Library Lou stands up to him, and she kind of tricks him into learning to read. He only knows the letter X, and so he
X
learns
marks
to
the
read by the end of the book, and says, "Books be the treasure." And so this,
because learning is important. It is
right.
a treasure. It's important to learn. Yeah.
This is probably for up to 2nd or 3rd grade. Most of my books were for a little bit younger than that. And so it came up for 4 state awards. I was real pleased with that. And Sleeping Bear Press in Ann Arbor published this book.
Oh, wow.
So I was,
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
I have
great.
1 book with them.
So it seems like just over the years you've really, really expanded. I mean, your focus. You have so many books, not only learning but just fun, education, and just it's great to see. And Rhonda, like I said, we're happy to have you on the show, and
Thank you.
happy that you were sharing your wonderful talent and gift with us.
Well, thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, and thanks again to everybody who tuned in. Once again, this is Rhonda Greene. She's a local author right here in West Bloomfield who's written over 24 nationally published books. I'm sure you can find a few at the West Bloomfield Public Library if you're interested. And folks, we just want to say thanks again to her.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, everyone. Well, now it's time for a segment we like to call The Biz, where our Splash reporter Katy Wozniak talks with local businesses right here in Greater West Bloomfield.
In this edition of The Biz, we visited the Little Gym in West Bloomfield to find out why it is important for kids to start physical activity at an early age.
Number one, from a physical standpoint, the more they do things with consistency, such as somersaults and different types of movements, hanging on the bar, learning to walk the balance beam, the more they do it, the better they progress. So the earlier you start it and make the deposit in, you're going to see those returns from a physical standpoint. From a mental aspect, as we know, kids' brains, they develop at such a fast pace. So when you're putting them in a situation where they're learning early, something that they picked up last week, you'd be surprised in our program. They put a memory to coming to a place to an action that they follow up with. So from a mental standpoint, the more they're learning early, the better it is for anything.
Engaging your child in physical activity allows learning to improve by seeing and hearing directions.
When they're physical, number one, they're learning from a visual standpoint. So they're actually doing what they see the instructors and what their parents are doing. And then when we actually are talking through some of our skills and some of the things that we do around the gym, they're learning from an audible standpoint. So those two things come together. And once they see it and they hear it, they start to do it. And that's when you really see the progress, not only from a physical development, but from them actually putting together what they've done in an active stance to the point where they're learning it mentally. And now they transfer it over to where they can talk about it, they can do it, they can see it, they can hear it, and their confidence builds right from that point.
Reinforcing activities is important when teaching decision-making and self-control.
Again, kids, they're visual and audible learner. So some kids, even they may not be looking, they can hear everything that's going on. So when we say swing on the bars and have your hands nice and tight, they may not be looking at us per se, but they hear it, so they do it. And vice versa, they may not be listening, but one of the kids may actually see myself or the other instructors do the skill, and they do exactly what they see. So that's how we incorporate physical activity, self-control, decision-making, and discipline within all of our programs.
Playing and being social with others is important for children at a young age.
Especially for our 1-year-olds and our 2-year-olds, it's really important for them to get used to being around other kids, because when they take that next step as far as getting ready to go off to school, that's another experience that they have that they can put in their pocket to learn that, hey, it's okay to share. It's okay to take turns. It's not always going to be just me and mom and dad.
And Ralph gives us a few activities that parents can try with their little ones at home.
Really, the work of jumping is extremely important. I mean, it builds all the power and the flexibility in the lower body. So even if your child isn't jumping yet, one thing that you can do to help them jump is spot them right underneath the armpits and simply go through the motion going up and down. And then as they're going up and down, whether your child can jump or not, give them nice feedback. It's like, hey, great job bending your knees while you're jumping way up in the air. And then another one that you can, work on is giving them something as simple as a ball to increase grip strength, and that's good for hand-eye coordination as well. You can work on, in regards to gripping, you can actually work on hand-eye coordination by rolling a ball. And again, giving them that feedback. Nice, great grip with those hands. Way to squeeze your fingers tight on that ball.
For The Splash, I'm Katy Wozniak.
Thanks, Katie. And for all of you at home, there's plenty more episodes of The Biz online at our website, civiccentertv.com/thebiz. So go ahead and check them out if you get a chance. But now let's turn to our final segment here on the show, which we'd like to call Person of the Week. This is the part of the show where we give a personal shout out to someone within the community who's either helping or inspiring others. And this week's recipient is Louise Bugg, a member and volunteer at Spirit of Grace Church. Former librarian and resident of West Bloomfield, Louise Bugg, is sort of a hometown hero. Over the years, she has taken huge strides in bettering her community by tending towards the needs of others. A majority of her time is spent at Spirit of Grace Church, where she partakes in a number of charity events, such as Relay for Life, yard cleanup, and an annual free Christmas banquet. And when she isn't at Spirit of Grace, she is an active advocate for better senior citizen care and living programs around the West Bloomfield area. She even cares for her mom, who is 101 years old, and wants to build on making her community a place in which senior citizens are recognized and taken care for. So, with a heart of gold and a smile to match, we decided to go ahead and make Louise Bugg our Person of the Week. And if you happen to know someone who's providing a service to their community, then let us know by sending an email to The Splash at civiccentertv.com. We want to congratulate those who are making a difference in our area, and we appreciate all of your suggestions. Unfortunately, though, that brings us to the end of our show today. But as always, you can catch new episodes of The Splash every Monday at 6:30 and throughout the week for replays. And you can even look up previous episodes online at civiccentertv.com or follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook under Civic Center TV for more information. For all of our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, and of course West Bloomfield, I'm Jonathan Jackson, and we want to thank you for watching.